Hello, I'm Brett with WIPdeveloper.com. I wanted to start talking about rendering a list. In this case, we're going to render a list of values. So I've already created a new Lightning Web component called values list, and I've added it to our page, and you can see it already has a Lightning card with the title value. It says values value list, but it should say values list. And then I have a place for the list to go. So if I'm going to render a list, I have to have some values to render. So I'm just going to add a couple of values in the controller. And we should probably start with 0. So now we have some values to render. In the HTML, the documentation say to use the template. So we would use, it would be 4 colon each. And then we would bind to the values. And then we would have a for item. And that would not be bound to anything, but we would declare a name for it. And I'll just call it value. Then we can just use the value down here. And if we gave this a key and bound to it, save it, we should see our list rendered when we refresh the page. There we go. We now have an unordered list that has 4 items in it. Not terribly exciting, but we can also add new. So, a couple of things. This is how the documentation will show you how to create the list. But what I'm going to do, because it gets a little verbose, because we have template just so that we can have the repeat or the for syntax on it. So let's remove that from there and add it directly to our list item. Now we've removed the extra template because it's not necessary to render a list properly. There we go. It's still working. And you might wonder what happens if your list were to get a new item. Well, let's give that a shot. I'm going to add a button under the list. Oh, I see what I did. Something I did missed is I did not have my unordered list. I did not add that in there. So let's add that. Good. Put a button in. Want it to call add one. And now when we click this button, it'll call a method called add one. So we should probably add that to our controller. So what this is going to do is it's going to add the next number. Whoops, wrong combination of control buttons. So when we click our button, it's going to call add one. Add one is going to push the next number onto our list. And now let's click our button. We are doing something wrong. What is it? Here's what happened. I forgot to add track here. And if we're going to track that, we have to import track. And I swear I knew this, and I made a note to make sure to do that. But here we are. We've added track. I'm going to close down the debug console, refresh the page. Now we can add one. And we can add a whole bunch. And every time we add a new one, it re-renders the list with our new values. I'm pretty sure we can subtract one. Let's try pop, see what happens. Now refresh the page. We have a subtract one. There we go. So you can see our list is changing as we add and push one onto the stack and we pop one off. The stack being the array of values. So that's how we render a list of values using Lightning Web Components, and a little shortcut to make your HTML syntax a little bit less verbose. That's it for now. Remember to sign up for the weekly stand-up, and you can get updated with any new updates we have on WIPdeveloper.com.